friend. Welcome to day 2 of Ephesians chapter 6, where Paul continues to teach on what does it look like to walk according to the manner to which we have been called, to walk in the light, to walk in love, to walk as wise rather than unwise. So today's passage is directed to who? To bondservants, slaves, and masters. We'll define those two terms after we read the passage. Let's read. We are beginning at verse 5. Bondservants, obey your earthly masters with fear and trembling, with a sincere heart, as you would Christ, not by the way of eye service, as people pleasers, but as bondservants of Christ, doing the will of God from the heart, rendering service with a good will as to the Lord and not to man, knowing that whatever good anyone does, this he will receive back from the Lord, whether he is a bondservant or is free. Masters, do the same to them and stop your threatening, knowing that he who is both their master and yours is in heaven, and that there is no partiality with him. Okay, friends, well, I began with that who question. At first, I wanted to begin with, okay, what is it I learn about God's heart here? But I really needed to better understand for my own peace of mind. And because this idea of slavery, it's jarring, and it should be jarring. We live in a broken world, in a corrupt world. And the same was true for the Ephesians. Paul is writing to a church within the Roman Empire, and within the Roman Empire, there are millions and millions of slaves. Yes, that's what a bondservant is. It's this word doulos, slave, a person who is legally owned by someone else and whose entire livelihood and purpose was determined by their master. And we know that Paul refers to himself as a slave to God, a slave to Christ, that Christ is the one who legally owns him, purchased him, and his entire livelihood is determined by Christ and the good news of the gospel. But within the Roman Empire, like I said, there are millions and millions of slaves. And Paul isn't seeking to start some kind of a political revolution in order to change that. No, this system has been set up for a long, long time. Paul is concerned about what? Paul is concerned about the gospel of Jesus Christ and the hearts of the people he is writing to, that they would walk in love, walk in the light, walk in a manner worthy of their calling within this corrupt world that we live in. So what does that look like? All right. So he says, bondservants, obey your earthly masters with fear and trembling. What's a master? That's a person who has general authority over others, slaves or subjects, often as an owner as well as an authority figure. So this is foreign to us here, and it should be. Thank goodness that it is. Now, 1 Peter 2:18 is a cross-reference. Peter says, servants, be subject to your masters with all respect, not only to the good and gentle, but also to the unjust. All right, so they are speaking to people who have no rights. Slaves have no rights. They are owned by their masters. And friends, this in itself is revolutionary, to care for the people that have no rights. Here's where we get a window into God's heart, that God cares about all people. He sees, he knows, he cares, he loves. And he addresses all of these groups in the Roman Empire who have no rights. Women, children, and slaves. So in a sense, this in and of itself is revolutionary. Here is God's heart of grace that he sees, he knows, he loves for these who are, I would maybe even use the word marginalized within this corrupt system, within the corrupt world. God sees, and his heart is that all would be treated with respect and goodness, and that they too would treat others with respect and goodness. This goes back to, just like we started yesterday, Ephesians 4:21. Paul said, look, submit to one another out of reverence for Christ. And basically, that is what Paul is commanding the slaves. Look, obey, be obedient to, how? With respect, with honor, as if, or out of reverence for Jesus Christ, out of honor that is due to Jesus, because this is the service that Jesus has performed for us. So he lists a lot of things here. Look, obey your earthly masters with fear and trembling, with a sincere heart. This is a straightforward, honest heart, a heart that reveres their master, not by the way of eye service as people pleaser. A people pleaser that caught my attention because I tend to be a people pleaser, characterized by the intent to satisfy the desires of people rather than God. This isn't, Paul wasn't commanding them to obey in a way to please their master just for the pleasure of their master. No, he's commanding them to obey from this spirit, this heart position of doing the will of God. Excuse me, from the heart. He says, verse 7, rendering service with goodwill as to the Lord, not to man. That was key for me. Rendering service with goodwill as to the Lord. Serving with goodwill. That goodwill means benevolence. It means charity. It means an inclination to do kind or charitable acts. And that just seems revolutionary to me, that someone would serve in this kind way, serve their master in a kind and charitable way. Oh, excuse me. Okay, so Paul is saying, bottom line is, Paul is saying to serve as if you are serving Jesus Christ himself. All right. Why? Again, it takes us back to 4:21, where we are to serve out of reverence for Christ. Christ served us with this goodwill, with this benevolent and charitable heart of grace and love for us. And so, slaves, we are to serve in this way. Again, Paul's goal is the gospel of Jesus Christ. Paul's goal is to share this gospel, that it would spread, the kingdom of Christ would spread, his kingdom of love. He's not looking to change the corruption of the world. He's looking to share the gospel. How's that going to be done? If we look like Christ, if we serve like Christ with grace and love and benevolence and hearts of charity. Now, he has a good word for masters too. He says, do the same to them. Again, that's an imperative verb. You must do. You must treat your slaves like this. And he says, look, stop your threatening. Threatening is a declaration of an intention or determination to inflict harm on another person. Don't be threatening. Don't threaten to inflict harm on your slaves. Rather, what are you to do? You are to serve them as if serving Christ himself. Serve them with the goodwill as to the Lord. You are to treat your servants in this charitable, gracious, good way that Jesus Christ used to serve us. You are to have this same heart. Why? Why are masters to serve in this way? Because that's the heart of God, number one, and we are looking to have hearts unified with him. But we also need to understand this about the heart of God. Paul makes abundantly clear in this last verse that there is no partiality with him. What does that mean? Partiality means that there is no differentiation. We are all created in the image of God. All right, there was a beautiful cross-reference, John 13:13. Jesus says this, "You call me teacher and Lord," which means master, "and you are right, for so I am." So ultimately, Jesus is our master. If we are in a master-like position, we're not the ultimate. Jesus is. And then Job 31, these are verses 13 through 15. Job says this, "If I have rejected the cause of my manservant or my maidservant, when they brought a complaint against me, what then shall I do when God rises up? When he makes inquiry, what shall I answer him? Did not he who made me in the womb make him? And did not one fashion us in the womb?" So God created us both. We are all made in the image of God. There's no partiality with God. He sees us all made in his image, and he has grace and love towards us all. We are seeking to be one in heart with him. What do we learn about God from this passage, friends? Number one, he cares about all people. Number two, I learned that there's no partiality. There's no favoritism with one group over another. That takes us back to Deuteronomy 10:17. And we can also understand the meaning of that. God is just. He is fair. He is good in that way. And then we must remember that Christ rendered this service to us. He became a slave to us. Even though he is master and Lord, he submitted his will to us. He did this service with goodwill, with charity, with benevolence to us. If we are masters, if we use these principles to apply it in our work relationships, friends, this is how we are to treat those who work for us. And for our bosses whom we are working for, we are to render service. We are to serve with goodwill, with charity as to the Lord. Friends, this is true, once again, whether we are worker or master. It goes all the way back to Ephesians 4:21. Submit to one another. Why? Out of reverence for Jesus Christ and what he has done. All right, I hope that unpacks that a little bit. And I hope that you, like me, got a window into the heart of Jesus. Friends, it's so magnificent. His heart is magnificent. It's beautiful. It's good. It's full of grace and charity. Look at what he has done for us. And let's understand that he sees, he knows, he loves, and we should look to have a heart unified with his heart for justice and for grace. This is how we are called to live in a manner worthy of our calling, in a manner, this is how we are to live in his light and his love.